If you live in California and own a home, you can say goodbye to green grass and your lawn. California's liberal politicians have enacted a stringent ban on lawns. And if you violate the ban, you're going to get fined a lot of money. Coming up, we'll tell you the details and what we're doing to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. And yes, it's true. In California, the wacky left-wing politicians are trying to ban so many good things in life. The latest ban is an attack on your lawn. They want to get rid of green grass throughout the entire state of California. Now they're saying it's all in the name of water conservation. Now, just a few years ago, when I warned people that this is exactly where the liberal politicians were going, people laughed at me. And I cited a 2015 press conference done by then Governor Jerry Brown, where he was signing an executive order imposing fines and penalties on people who watered grass on the wrong day of the week, and mandating water conservation targets be met. We'll talk in a moment why California's water shortage is a man-made crisis. It's because of bad water policy. I'll get to that in a minute. It's not climate change. It's not population growth. It is not inefficiency or water hogs. It literally is a man-made crisis by the politicians. But here was the clip that I made a lot of hay about in 2015. This is then Governor Jerry Brown signing an executive order with water penalties and water conservation mandates.
People should realize we're in a new era. The idea of your nice little green grass, getting lots of water every day, that's going to be a thing of the past.
That's going to be a thing of the past. The idea of your green grass, your nice little green grass getting water every day, that's a thing of the past. It's not just a notion that you're not going to be able to water your grass a lot. They're heading towards not watering your grass at all, banning actual decorative turf. They call it, instead of saying banning lawns or banning grass, they say that they're banning decorative turf. Here are the details. It's Assembly Bill 1572. And this is the Los Angeles Times story on Assembly Bill 1572 that just passed the state legislature. California is moving to outlaw watering some grass that's purely decorative. Now, let me just tell you right now, as I said back in 2015, as I say today, they are not going to stop until they're banning your residential front yard and backyard lawn. Make no mistake about it. These unhinged wackadoos do not want to actually give us a rational, workable water policy. They want to punish you and ban, your enjoyment of life. And I've got to say, people who like to garden, you're on their hit list. Anything that you enjoy, if you like a green lawn, you're somehow the enemy. You're somehow doing something wrong. They want to make you feel that way. And you're doing nothing wrong by having grass. I mean, if you want to have grass, great. If you don't want to have grass, that's your choice. But it's not something that government should be imposing on you. Next, they're going to come in to do what? Try to give you other thoughts on how you're decorating your home or what appliances you use. Of course they are. Natural gas appliances. Every element of your life, they are trying to control. They're trying to make you feel bad about every element, including grass. But let's get back to Assembly Bill 1572. 1572 would ban the use of grass as landscaping for everything but single-family homes. Now you might say, well, thank goodness, Carl. You had me worried there. I thought my grass at my home would be banned. They're coming for it. But let me explain 1572. It bans any grass at any non-residential parcel of land. So we're talking about shopping centers. We're talking about apartment buildings. We're talking about commercial buildings. We're talking about government buildings. We're talking about schools. Now, they make an exemption if there's a sports field involved. So I guess we can still have grass fields for soccer and other football games and whatnot. But make no mistake about it, that's coming soon as well. They're trying to get this implemented, and here's why. They're going to be able to say, see, there wasn't a big challenge in banning grass everywhere else. And now, we need to do this for homeowners as well. You've got to do your part. What you're doing right now with grass, you should feel awfully ashamed of yourself. So this is just the camel's nose under the tent. Assembly Bill 1572. It also imposes massive fines. This bill is looking at fines of $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 for violating these water orders of not using these grass lawns. We do know that it is expensive to replace grass with artificial turf. Landscaping is not cheap. People think it's cheap. It's not. And if you suddenly implement a mandate for all these parcels of land automatically, all at once, you're going to have a massive Biden inflation situation. You're going to have a disruption in the supply chain of landscapers and other materials. Even plants will be short supply as people are thinking through, what are we going to put in the place of grass so that it doesn't get all dusty. And mind you, you get rid of grass, you're going to have a lot of air quality issues real quick. These environmentalists say, oh, we're doing something good for the environment, we're getting rid of grass. Well, if you replace it with what? Arid sand and rock and, cactus plants, when the wind kicks up, it's going to dramatically impact to the detriment air quality. And that can pose a significant health problem. But I'm sure they'll get around to banning DG as landscaping. These people always create more problems than they're worth. Now, you might say, Carl, what are you going to do to solve the water crisis? We have a shortage of water because of the climate change. Well, I'm going to say, stop listening to lies from the politicians and liberal media. We do not have a shortage of water in California suddenly because of climate change. We have the same supply of water that we've always had in California. The problem is that we are restricting the supply of water to people who need it. In the 1990s and into the 2000s, wackadoo liberal groups pushed politicians to restrict the flow of water to farms and to urban areas. And as a result, the percentage of water used for what they call environmental uses, but it's not environmental uses. The percentage of water wasted, let's just call it what it is. The percentage of water wasted and swept out to the ocean without us being able to actually harness it and use it and store it. That water was by mandate of environmental groups allowed to be wasted, flow out to the ocean. They say we need to let it flow to the ocean and waste it because the fishies along the way need the water. Well, they've yet to show that there is any benefit from restricting the flow of water to agriculture and urban areas. And in fact, I would argue, again, given those air quality issues, when you cut off the water supply from urban areas and cut off the water supply from farm areas, you're creating an air quality crisis, an air quality problem throughout the state of California, which is an environmental detriment. It's also very, very dishonest of politicians to say that somehow you're the problem. First, I want you to know these percentages. 5%. What is 5%? 5% is the total consumption by buildings, golf courses, hotels, homes, by human beings for non-food purposes. 5% is the total amount of water in California that we consume each year. 5%. That's it. And remember, water replenishes. Okay, so when you say 5% is of the supply each year, about 5% of water consumption is human use, non-agricultural human use. 5%. And so when they say you got to get rid of your lawn, they're talking about literally a drop in the bucket with a lot of costs and a lot of dislocation and impacts. What's the next highest use of water? Farming. That's about 40%. 40% of our water is used for you to eat. Farming, agriculture, 40%. So you add up those two numbers, 5% and 40%, and what do you get? 45%. More than half of our water, 55%, and in some years, agriculture is cut to 30 to 35%. So 55 to 65% of our water is wasted. It's put out into the ocean. We are not allowed to utilize it. And yet everyone else, the farmers and every resident, is told that somehow they're the problem, that they have to restrict their use. Well, here's the deal. Agricultural usage of water is more efficient than ever before. Since 1980, agricultural usage of water in California has declined by 30%. But the production of our food has gone up by 30 to 35%, depending upon the year. So we are producing more with less water, more food, less water. I say thank you to those farmers out there for being water wise. Oh, and human consumption is down dramatically. In 1990, per capita water consumption in California was 231 gallons per day. 1990, 231 gallons. In 2010, it plummeted to 180. Now, depending upon the region you live in, it's down to about 150. I want to share with you this graph from the San Diego County Water Authority. Remember, San Diego's at the end of the pipe. But what these numbers reflect are numbers that you probably will see throughout the state of California. In 1990, the per capita use of water was 235 gallons. And today, in 2021, the latest numbers we have, it's 134 gallons. That is a 101 gallon reduction. That's a 40% plus reduction from 1990 baseline in the consumption of water. And these liberal politicians have the audacity to make you feel guilty and say that you are to blame. Horseshit. Absolute nonsense. And the media should be showing these graphs and thanking the average Joe and Jane out there for doing the right thing on water consumption. But no, these numbers are never going to be shared because they want you to feel bad. They want to make you feel like your neighbor deserves to be fined or forced to do their part in reducing water consumption when they've been doing their part all along. The cost of these mandates is going to be significant. It's the requirement that you get rid of your lawn. It also is the disruption in your life, the enjoyment that you take away from people, particularly people who do have a hobby of gardening. I always say, if you're willing to pay for a commodity like water, then government ought not to tell you that you can't use that water because somehow we are deciding that you've used too much. We have a water budget for you, an allocation you've gone over. And yet what are they proposing is not just forcing you to make those transition costs. They're suggesting that they are going to fine you. The water police are going to be out there. Remember the last drought we had? We had politicians urging neighbors to rat out their fellow neighbors, to even use apps to report if someone was watering on the wrong day of the week. Insanity. Absolute nonsense. And that is the policy that we're headed towards. This past year, we've had a very good water year. We had a lot of rain, a lot of snow, even had a hurricane. But we didn't store the water. And that's the failure of politicians. That first part of that water policy I told you that politicians are failing on is that they have constricted the flow of water to agricultural and residential use, while they've been wasting water, letting it flow out to the sea with no accountability on whether we're actually achieving environmental benefits. But we do know that when you fallow agricultural land and not water it, it creates an air quality detriment. Asthma and other bad air quality issues are exacerbated there. No one in the media wants to challenge that. Nobody wants to raise it and ask, why are you screwing up air quality because of your bad water policy, choking off the supply? But also, let's understand that in order for us to have better water policy, we need to store water. And the environmentalists have fought tooth and nail to stop us from building more capacity in our reservoirs. And in fact, the latest is that they're removing dams from the state of California. They want to let water flow even more freely out to the ocean and waste it. These people are insane, and yet they are causing a crisis, and they are trying to blame you at the same time. It's not climate change. It's inept, corrupt, extreme liberal Democrat politicians in the state of California that have created a water crisis and want to now have you saddled with the discomfort of life as well as the higher cost. Share this video, like this video, subscribe to this channel. Help us get the truth out there. Help us warn people that they're coming for your residential grass, but all these other grass in all these other buildings, it's banned. And these fines are going to start to be levied in the coming years. We've got to fight this insanity and demand better water policy. So go online to the website, reformcalifornia.org. reformcalifornia.org. Don't just share this video with your friends and family. Don't just subscribe to this social media channel and our YouTube channel. I need you to share the information on our website as well as sign up for one of our campaigns so that we can elect better leaders in California at the state, local level to make better policy. reformcalifornia.org. That's the site. Until next time, guard your grass and make sure you get involved in the fight. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.